It's Scott on Security. I'm Scott Beck, co-star of the Amazon Prime documentary Cybercrime, CEO of Beck Tech, a cybersecurity and IT support firm in Canada, and a two-time best-selling author. And today, I'm going to talk a little bit about wire transfers. Why are you talking about this, Scott? I consider it a big Wall Street Journal revelation occurred at the end of last week. About an older gentleman, I believe the article said he was 80, had been scammed out of $40,000 through wire transfers. Now, sadly, that's not the story. Wire transfer fraud has been getting worse and worse and worse over the years because it's so effective for the bad guys to get the money, and the money disappears. Like once you do that wire transfer, the money gets offshore or goes wherever it's going, very hard for the banks to pull that money back. It's a very short window where they can actually get that money back for you if it was done incorrectly. So that's not really the story. I mean, yes, in the business world, listen, if you get an email from the boss saying you need to wire $10,000, $15,000, wherever, even if it sounds like maybe it's legit, I would say best practice, pick up the phone, call the boss and say, hey boss, did you really send this to me? Kind of like do a two-factor authentication to make sure it's real. Because these emails, the bad guys are getting really, really good at faking these emails to make it sound and look like it is coming from the boss. So really, if you're the person in charge of the bank account at your company, make sure you do that two-factor authentication. Call the boss. They're going to appreciate it because if it is legit, they're going to say, yeah, I told you to do that. Please go ahead. If not, they're going to be like, no, why would you be asking me that question? So please make sure in the business world that if you get one of these requests that you do that two-factor authentication and call the person to make sure it's legit. Now, the other scary one, which this older gentleman appears to have fallen for, is the bad guys are crafty. You post on social media that you're going to Cancun, Mexico, or some other vacation spot, and then they take a look to see who you're connected to. Then they'll go, oh, look, there's great aunt, whatever her name is, or Uncle Jimmy, and Uncle Jimmy appears to be older. Yeah, some of these older folks still on social media. So what they'll do is they'll run a scam, basically saying, oh, your nephew has been in a terrible accident and we need $10,000 for the medical bills, or he could die. They'll do those kind of things. I'm simplifying it, but basically that's what they're doing. They're giving misinformation, trying to get you to send that wire transfer. And unfortunately, it's happening way more than you think. And that brings me to the point of the story. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that this is happening so much, and the banks know that this is happening, that instead of trying to put some stopgap measures in place to limit it, to slow it down, they're actually making people sign non-disclosure agreements. So in the case of this older gentleman, he went to his bank and figured out that the scam was happening, and the bank said, hey, no problem, just sign this piece of paper right here that says you will not sue us, that the bank will do their best to get the money back. And listen, at that point, the bank already knows not going to be able to get it. If it's over 24, 48 hours, kiss it goodbye. That money is gone, okay? You're not getting it back. But the really scary thing is, in the non-disclosure agreement, it says he's not supposed to talk about it, which apparently he has, but that if anyone asks him about the fraud, he is supposed to say that it's been resolved. Get that. He is supposed to say, everything's great, it's been resolved. He's not allowed to say he's out the $40,000. According to the Wall Street Journal article, wire fraud is a big deal, and the banks haven't been able to put anything in place to kind of slow it down. So what are they doing instead? They're trying to buy the silence. They don't want people to know how big a problem this really is, because it's a flaw in the banking system and the way that the wire transfers work and how the banking backbone works. And according to the Wall Street Journal, it's a much bigger problem than even I was aware of. I mean, I knew the fraud was happening. We talk about it all the time and try to make people aware. But this is a big deal that they're doing these non-disclosure agreements and that you're supposed to say, life's good, not a problem, bank took care of it. It's scary stuff. Well, as always, thanks for tuning in and stay safe out there.